and he brought them back to the United States to apply them for the struggle for civil rights in the 1960s. And what Mahatma Gandhi said, and Mahatma Gandhi had been very influenced by the Quakers, he had been very influenced by Thoreau, and Mahatma Gandhi talked about the fact, just as the Quakers do, that there is an inner light within every man, woman, and child. And that Quaker concept was very much a part of the founding of this country. The whole idea of the repudiation of aristocracy, one of my favorite stories is about William Penn. When William Penn in England, and he was a Quaker, and the laws at that time were that if an aristocrat's carriage came by, you had to bow. Because the whole social agreement at that time in old aristocratic monarchical Europe was that only a few people, the aristocrats, the upper classes, were deemed entitled to land, to wealth, to education, to the opportunities to actualize their dreams on a material level. And no one else did. Everybody else was little more than a serf. So what you were supposed to do, to make sure you didn't forget your place, was that when an aristocrat's carriage came by, you were to bow. Well, there was a famous story where William Penn, an aristocrat's carriage came by, and he didn't bow. And so a soldier came up to him and drew their sword and said, "Didn't you see that that was an aristocrat's carriage? You didn't bow. Why didn't you bow?" And William Penn, who was a Quaker, said, "My religion forbids me. My religion forbids any man to bow before any other man." Now he did this so many times that George III said, "I got to get rid of this guy. Go to the Americas, I'll give him some land," which was probably not in King George's best interest, because he did exactly that. He founded Pennsylvania and so forth, which became this seat of the Quakerism and the original founding principles of the United States. So we have had from the beginning people who recognize that this idea that there is an inner light within all men and all women, all children, all people. It's the profound core of it all. It's why equal rights are to be given to everyone. It's why it's why the pursuit of happiness should be given to everyone. And it's why the opportunities to soar, the opportunities to actualize our own unlimited God-given potential, it's a sacred thing. This is not just a matter of a new political moment in history. It was a moral and a spiritual and a philosophical step forward, completely repudiating an entire worldview that had dominated this planet for centuries. It was radical, and it's radical now, and you see even now how many, not just in other places in the world, but even in this country, you see the forces that materialize and form themselves as though to say, well, no, we're entitled, but you're not entitled. And that happens as long as there are not enough, a critical mass of Americans who get, no, that's actually not what we're doing here. That's not what we will be doing here. Now, what Gandhi said was not just that there is this inner light within every man, woman, and child, but he said that the inner light is love. And he said that this inner light not only heals personal relationships, but it heals political and social relationships as well. And that is what Dr. King was referring to when Dr. King would later say that Gandhi was the first person in human history and take the love ethic of Jesus and turn it into a broad-scale social force for good. Now, I think it takes noting that to Gandhi, it was not the love ethic of Jesus. To Gandhi, it was the love ethic at the heart of all the great religious teaching. But that was the line from Martin Luther King, and of course that was the tradition that he was coming from. This idea that love does not just heal personal relationships, but that love also heals the collective, the political, and the spiritual. That is what Gandhi said, and with that he succeeded in removing the colonial powers of Britain from India, and that is what Martin Luther King said, and with that principle he formed the civil rights movement, which ultimately overturned white supremacy and segregation in the American South. And it has to do with the idea that we must be as much changed inside. And we all know the line from Gandhi, you must be the change you want to see happen in the world. So the idea of turning love into a political force is nothing new. That's what Gandhi was saying, and that's what Martin Luther King was saying. But as important as it is for us to learn history, and I'm a lover of history, And as much as I feel knowing the narrative is extremely important, those of us who are practitioners, who are students, who understand spiritual work and are trying to apply it in our lives know that the most important moment is the moment that we're living in. Now, there was slavery in the United States.